Maverick News presents The Rick Walker Show. Defrag your mind.
Good evening, Maverick family. Welcome back to the Maverick News Channel. Thank you, everyone, for joining me here tonight. Tons of stuff on tap for you. Sorry for the late start tonight. Just a very busy day and did not really have enough time to get prepared for 6 p.m., but I did want to come on and spend some time with you guys tonight. So we just started a little later than usual, and that's okay, I think, for today. We're going to revisit Joe Biden's visit to Lahaina. I say it wrong all the time. Yesterday, where he was heckled, and where he may have actually made up a story. And it's so typically Joe Biden for him to make everything about himself, which is what he did when he was there yesterday. And while we ran some of that stuff live yesterday, we didn't get some of the most important parts, but we have them for you tonight. Because, we just weren't able to follow him everywhere he went, but we've got the goodies for you here this evening. The wildfires continuing to burn. A lot of speculation swirling around, and we're going to get into a little bit of that here this evening too. Again. And what else do we have? Oh yeah, the lockdowns. Are they coming back? Mask mandates, things like that. And I'll tell you, we're not going to stick around here on Facebook and YouTube too long tonight because, censorship. Mm-hmm. And prepping for World War III, a war that's actually already here, but looks like we've got more escalation. And this morning, when I woke up, I was literally petrified. That's the word. Petrified. Because I just woke up and I do my clearest thinking before I go to sleep when I'm just laying in bed, no sound. And when I wake up in the morning, sometimes in my sleep when I'm having a nightmare. But I woke up this morning, and I sleep too with, I shouldn't do this, but I sleep with content playing, and it's always on, even when I'm sleeping. News and information. So I'm just always absorbing stuff, but no wonder I have nightmares. Try putting Alex Jones on when you're sleeping and then wake up. Oh boy. Especially when he talks about the demons. Yeah. Anyway, I was very, very worried because I was sort of piecing things together and seeing how everything fits from the local level all the way up to international. And it's scaring me because it's like, I'm like, I was thinking of what to put in the thumbnail tonight. And, the headline that came to mind, nuclear convoy. Because we've been talking about this Save the Children convoy. And then I'm also thinking about this escalation in Ukraine that we're seeing. And we've got some of that for you tonight. And oh my goodness, they're telling people to get the heck out of Belarus. The U.S. government's telling everybody to get out now. To me, it's another indicator that they are getting ready to go nuclear. So we have all this stuff happening on the home front and all this stuff happening overseas. And I see connections. Everything is connected. You might not think that things happening locally in your hometown, you might not think that they matter that much on the other side of the world, but I'm telling you, they matter. And there are connections between what's going on right here at home and what's going on over there. And it scares me. So we've got all that for you tonight. And, I'm going to try and I wish I'd had more time to prep because there's so much stuff in front of me here that I'd like to talk about this evening. But, we'll get into it. We'll get to it. And I'll do my best to muddle my way through and make the best of this here tonight. I wish I'd had another couple of hours to prep for this, but it's still going to be a great program. And I'm glad everybody is here. Welcome back, Maverick family. We are ready to rock and roll. Stay with me.
Greetings, brave Mavericks. Our quest for truth continues. We go beyond fake news. Together we expose propaganda. Together we pull others out of rabbit holes. We are maverick thinkers. We are all unique individuals, defenders of individual rights and freedoms, credible, trusted, grounded in reality. Maverick News, defending free speech, Donate at freedomreporters.com. Do it now. Tomorrow may be too late. Maverick News. The world is watching.
Okay, so here we are. And what are we going to do first? What are we going to talk about? Let's talk about these wildfires, shall we? Let's dig into that first. So, I've been saying from the beginning, I want to deal in facts. I don't want to speculate. I want to try to avoid that. And I know, there's all this speculation about what caused the fires. In the end, I think it's important, but it doesn't really change much because I think it's pretty clear that regardless of how these things started, the response from government overall has been inadequate. If it had been adequate, we wouldn't have anywhere near the number of fires still burning that we have. We wouldn't have had as many start to begin with. So whether you believe the government started the fires or whether you believe that terrorists started the fires, it ultimately doesn't change the reality that this is a bad situation and the government response has been inadequate. And I think, too, honestly, the likelihood that the government has some direct involvement on both ends of that equation is somewhat inevitable as well. Now, I can't say for sure what started these things. I don't think anybody can at this point. Well, in some cases we can, and I know that they've launched investigations into these things, and we know that the majority of these are from man-made causes, whether it's campfires not put out properly or someone carelessly discarding a cigarette or whatever. I know that in Alberta, when I went to check the stats there most recently, they're saying about over 30% of these they think were caused by lightning strikes. They've had now 960 70 some fires, which is more than normal. Not as many as they had in 2019, where they had over 1,200, but the season isn't over yet. 2019 was a huge spike as well in the province of Alberta. And Canada-wide, they're saying that this is the most wildfires I think we've ever had in a season. Not surprising. So, I want to see where these stats end up at the end of the year. But anyway, you slice it. These things have burned too long. They've burned, well, we know that forestry management has kind of gone out the window because of the concerns of environmentalists who don't like prescribed burns. We've talked about that. They don't get the dead wood out anymore the way they used to. They don't manage the forests. They just want to kind of let it go. But then you end up with a lot of kindling basically in there, and it's not good. And they haven't maintained the firefighting equipment. They don't have enough resources. They don't put the budgets into it. It's incompetence all the way down the line, that's for sure. In addition to that, we also know that there are environmental activists out there who are using this as an information warfare tool to push their climate change agenda, to say to the public, you see, this is all the result of climate change. That's their position. Here. What do we have here? And Larry sent me something. I'm just going to check this too. I'm going to click that link, and then while that comes up, I'm going to show you this here. It says Canada's unprecedented wildfires could soon get worse, experts say. Let me move this tab over here, and I'm going to show you what ABC News is reporting tonight. And I haven't even read this story yet, but I can kind of predict what it's going to say. Let's bring it up on the screen. What are they saying in the MSM about this stuff? 11,000 lightning strikes. They're saying are wildfires becoming more common?
So if you look at a place like California, where you have their record year set in 2018 of acreage burned, and then by 2020, you more than double that, you know that there is a problem. So not only are you going to burn and then make carbon dioxide, but you're also going to burn the forests that were once absorbing carbon dioxide. So it's
whatever. Okay. Climate change, CO2, carbon dioxide will kill you. Global warming, that's their position. Of course, like right off the top, right? So that's their narrative. That's what they're using it for. They're using it, exploiting it. And, are eco-terrorists setting some of these fires? I can't say for sure, but the historic wildfire season currently plaguing Canada is expected to persist, perhaps becoming even worse in the coming weeks. A potentially devastating forecast made more likely due to human-caused climate change, according to new research. Drought and hot conditions contributed to an unprecedented start to the fire season in Canada and has kept the fires burning all over the country since late April. Blah, 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 blah. Okay, well, you can believe that if you want. On the other side of the equation, of course, you've got people who are saying, it's the government and, you got to do something and whatever. And maybe you can look at it that way too. I'll tell you this is also what I came up with this morning, laying in bed. I was thinking about it in my sleep and waking up with this in my head. What is truth? Truth doesn't have to be true to be true. truth in this age just has to be in your head. That's always been the case with human beings. More so today than ever before. That's why things like MK Ultra, propaganda, the power of suggestion, hypnosis, the news business, information warfare. Truth doesn't have to be true to be true. Perception is reality. That's a rule that I learned in marketing, right? Or if you're a politician, you need to have a good public image. So you create an image for yourself. And when it comes to politics, or even political activism, you don't need absolute truth. You just need to convince people that something is true. And if people believe something is true, then it becomes true. You know, the victors of war get to write the history books. And the generations that come after have to accept what's in those history books as being true. But we weren't there. So how do we know that what we're reading isn't just propaganda afterward? Indeed, much of it probably is for every war. And that skews our reality, doesn't it? That there's got to be some truth in it, you would think. And then you get political or history revisionists who come along and say, that's not true. And then they rewrite the history to suit the current narrative, contemporary politics. So then the history changes. And so now I'm an old dude and I come along and I read a history textbook for my kids and it doesn't match what I was taught. How can that be? What's the truth? Well, sir, you weren't taught the truth when you were a kid. Now we're telling them the real truth. And how do I know, now that I'm getting to be an old dude and I see what's going on in politics, and I've been covering politics for a long time because I'm an old dude as a reporter. I see that when it comes to politics, so much of it is just a construct, a concept, an idea, a thing that comes from people's minds. And so whatever you think is true becomes true. And how do you decide what's true? Well, people tell you what to believe. Using a variety of different tools, information warfare tools especially. And we're in a war right now. We're absolutely in like a kinetic war in Ukraine. We've got all this, I guess we're in an information warfare here at home, in an information war, right? Not only an information war over what's going on in Ukraine, but even an information war between political parties and political groups, political ideologies, such is the case with any democracy, I suppose. Seems to me that I didn't realize this, when I was younger, but we are in a perpetual state of war. I think that's the natural state for mankind or humankind. Or as Justin Trudeau probably would say, people kind. It's a war of words, war of language, person's kind. Control the language, you control people's minds. So, over here in this corner, we have the climate change champions. And over here we have the climate deniers, or you could say the freedom fighters, or you could say people who believe the other side is full of crap. Which side is awake? You're a denier. You're asleep. What's the truth? It'll drive you loopy after a little while, just thinking about it. And so the comfortable thing to do for most people is to pick a side, pick a tribe, buy into the narrative on a particular side and close your eyes and then pretend you're awake. I'm challenging everybody out there every night, I think, in a way, to challenge yourself and ask yourself, is what I think really true? I'm doing it every day. The conclusion I'm coming to today, and it may change tomorrow, is that the government response to these wildfires has been woefully inadequate. I'm seeing way too many houses burn. Way too many acreages of trees just go up in smoke. Now, I don't have any proof. I don't know if it was a death ray from above. I don't know if it was a Klingon warship using a phaser laser crazer beam. I don't know. Don't know exactly what started it, but I do know way too many houses have burned down. Too many people have needed to flee their homes. And I would say that that is something that government has to own up to in one way or another. Way too much of it. Joe Biden went to Lahaina yesterday. Why? Finally, after being heavily criticized, and I think rightly so. Well, here, before I do that, let me just show you this other MSM report. And I mean, they're acknowledging here in this CBC report, 200 buildings estimated destroyed by Okanagan wildfires. There you go. Another one up in smoke. Premier David Eby is set to visit Shuswap and Okanagan regions Tuesday as conditions improve. It says here, the latest estimate suggests fewer than 90 structures were destroyed or damaged in West Kelowna and the West Bank First Nation, and fewer than 100 in the Northwest Side region to the north. 3 homes are lost to fire in Kelowna and another 3 in neighboring Lake Country. The British Columbia Premier, along with the provincial forests and emergencies ministers, will meet later this week, I guess, in the southern interior, and have had to flee due to wildfires. The latest estimate from fire chiefs in BC's central Okanagan region suggests that fewer than 200 buildings have been destroyed in aggressive wildfires that swept through West Kelowna and the surrounding area last week. And the smoke. And of course, it's all climate change, climate change, climate change, climate change. It doesn't matter, you know, honestly, it's always climate change is the reason for all of our problems. It's an existential threat to humanity. I don't agree. I don't agree. I think they have an agenda. I don't think they spend enough on fire mitigation. And the people in Lahaina, obviously not happy with the U.S. government response to their problems either. And so here's Joe Biden telling a story. Of course, he made it about himself. I didn't have this clip for you last night. I wish I'd had it. I'll share it with you now. Here he is. He's talking about when he was younger, like not younger, but you know, his house burned or something, and almost lost his cat and his Corvette. But it was okay because, you know, he was insured. Listen to this story. It's like, so he got heckled later about this, but listen to the story. And I'm seeing reports that suggest this may have been a completely fabricated fib, which is even worse. So I don't know. Would you actually make up something like this? I mean, I couldn't imagine doing that, but some people are saying this isn't even a true story. But anyway, listen to Joe Biden.
I don't want to compare difficulties, but we have a little sense, Jill and I, what it's like to lose a home. Years ago, now 15 years ago, I was in Washington doing Meet the Press. It was a sunny Sunday. And lightning struck at home on a little lake. It's outside of our home, not a lake, a big pond, and hit a wire and came up underneath our home into the heating ducts, the air conditioning duct. To make a long story short, I almost lost my wife, my 67 Corvette, and my cat. But all kidding aside, I watched the firefighters, the way they responded. You know, there's an old expression. I grew up right across the street from a fire hall in Claymont, Delaware. And the expression is, God made man, then he made a few firefighters. You're all crazy, thank God. The only people who run into flames to help other people. And they ran into flames, saved my wife, and saved my family. Not a joke. The smoke and the firefighters here can tell you sometimes smoke is so thick from the windows out, it was that thick inside the home. And we were insured. We did not have any problem, but being out of our home for a better part of a year was difficult. I can only imagine what it's like to lose your home.
It's all about him, man. They lost their whole damn town and more. People there, a lot of them lost everything. And you're standing up there talking about almost losing your Corvette and your cat. The cat, yeah, okay, but Corvette, whatever. So people were not happy with him yesterday. Some people flipped him the bird. Other people chanted, F Joe Biden, F Joe Biden. Here, I got it for you. Let me find it. I should have it. Here we go. Here we go. This is how the people in Lahaina felt about Joe Biden there yesterday. And we couldn't hear some of this as he was strolling yesterday, but we can hear it in this clip. Here he is. This is the welcome he got. I don't know if you heard that. Maybe we just play it one more time for you just to be sure, because it's a little hard to hear. Yeah, did you get that? A little hard to make out. We might play it again later, just in case some people missed it. A little hard to make it out, you know. But yeah, that's what it was. It was F Joe Biden, and it didn't seem to faze him much. Didn't upset him. He was pretty calm, very, very calm through it all. And then he was, you know, at another stopped during his visit in Hawaii, and he was so calm, so just, serene about it all that he actually seemed to fall asleep at a memorial service.
Never met before. We are a community that relies on family, on ohana, whether by blood or by friendship. But like many others, my son's home burned down. My daughter's home
He woke up.
burned down. My home burned down. My parents of 59 years home never met before.
See, we'll just play it one more time, just
We
in
are a
case you missed this
community
too.
that relies
Yeah,
on family,
he's a busy guy.
on ohana.
Gets a
whether
little
by
sleepy,
blood
so he just
or
took
by
a little
friendship.
power nap there in the middle of the memorial service.
But like many others, my son's home
See, yeah,
burned
just
down.
kind of. Oh,
My
yeah.
daughter's home
He woke
burned
up
down.
there. Woke up.
My home
That was just a quick one.
burned down. My parents of 59 years home never met before.
Just one more time. Just a little power play here.
We are a community that relies
You
on
know what?
family,
Let's slow it down, shall
on
we?
ohana, whether by blood.
There he is. We'll just slow it down. Sleepy Joe.
We are a community
Yeah.
that relies on family.
Sleepy Joe. This is your leader. Most powerful man in the world. The president of the most powerful nation on the planet Earth. Sleepy Joe Biden. Sleepy Joe Biden. Joe, wake up, Joe. It's time to wake up, Joe. It's time to wake up.
The New World Order. Government overreach. The Great Reset. Mainstream media lies. Now more than ever, independent voices are needed. Donate now at freedomreporters.com. That's freedomreporters.com. Maverick News. The antivirus program for your mind.
Exile. The Knights of Malta. Maverick News. Join us. The world is watching.
Okay, so I'm talking about politics as a construct. I mean, it's like, what do I mean by that? I mean, like, you just make stuff up, right? Like, think about, don't think of it in terms of like politics for a moment. Let's think of it as like, say I wanted to start a company, like a fast food chain, and I just wanted to come up with a name. So I'll call it Burger Clone. I've actually thought of doing this. It's not real yet. It's just an idea. Burger Clone. My idea for a burger clone would be to have engineered burgers, bioengineered maybe even, okay, or replicated in a super bioreplicator. And what burger clone would be is it would be like a clone. We would clone all the different burgers from all the different burger joints. Okay. And so you could go in, you would never have to go to any of the other competing burger joints because you'd be able to get a burger clone in any clone you wanted. You could get like a Big Mac clone. You could get a Whopper clone. You could get any kind of a clone you want. Okay, so you could have you could clone like a Wendy's single, Wendy's double, Wendy's triple, but it'd all be a clone burger. All of them clones, not the originals. But anyway, so if you were actually, so it's just an idea right now. But if you made the place, then it would actually become like a reality thing, right? Well, a country is just kind of like same sort of thing. It's like, what is a country? It's just like something that you make up in your head. Somebody made up the country, and then some dude said, I'm going to be the king. So if you would like be the king of the burgers, you'd be like the Burger King, right? So somebody made the Burger King place, and then they made the guy the king. Well, I'm just saying, all these things are like concepts, ideas. You just make stuff up. And in our world today, everything's kind of just made up in one way or another, especially on the neoliberal woke side. I mean, they just make up whatever they want to the point where it's like math doesn't even hold any water anymore. It's not even a real thing. Now, I don't subscribe to a challenging reality on that level, however, you see, because when I hold up this cup, that is a real thing. Now, a concept or an idea, that can be a construct. And I suppose mathematics can also be an arbitrary thing. And it could be a construct as well. I mean, if you look at a ruler, it is 12 inches long, that equals 1 foot. How come it's 1 foot? Because somebody just came along and decided that that is going to be a foot. That's why. Because somebody just decided. Well, that's kind of where we're at today, too, but to a more extreme, right? So you don't have to be a man. You don't have to be a woman. You could be anything you want. And 2 plus 2 doesn't even have to equal 4 anymore. That's where we're at, baby. I'm telling you. Here is Addison Rae, some sort of a super duper supermodel who did this photo shoot for Vogue. And check out this outfit. Got to get me one of these because this gives you like superpowers where you can create your own reality. Here's Addison Rae's super duper supermodel, superpower, super dress thing where it defies reality and lets you create your own reality. 2 plus 2 equals 3. I think that that is art reflecting society today. Nothing has to add up anymore. It can just be whatever you want. Man, if I was in school today, I would be acing math class. I would just dispute my math scores. Whatever grade the teacher gave me on my math exams, I would just take it back and say, nope, I've decided that 2 plus 2 equals 3, teach. 2 + 2 = 3. And if you don't pass me through this course, if you don't pass me on to the next grade, I'm going to sue your ass. Because you're discriminating against me. Because I identify as a mathematical Einstein, where I've created my own mathematical political construct. The world is upside down, folks. That much I know. You know what else is real? This isn't news, but this too is reality, as I think Walter Cronkite used to say. This reminds me of something that happened to me when I was younger, and I hope you appreciate it when I share this with you, because we're all in for a blast of reality. I know that in the weeks and the days ahead, as we talk more about pending lockdowns and possible mask mandates coming back. Well, isn't that going to be a knockout punch? Just like that, right in the head. Oh my goodness. This here reminds me of when I was father of a youngin', and my daughter had a birthday party, and we had a piñata, and we gave a baseball bat to a little girl who was at the party, and the girl was supposed to hit the piñata with the baseball bat, and she had the blindfold on, but the little girl did not hit the piñata with the baseball bat. The little girl started to beat the crap out of me with the baseball bat. And I looked pretty much like that dude right there, except it wasn't the feet, it was the baseball bat that was getting me all punchy drunk like that. Ouch. And that is just about where we're at politically today. Little dose of reality in the face. 2 + 2 = 3. Pow! Right in the kisser. Oh my God. That's gotta hurt. And I just don't know what the heck to do anymore when people say 2 + 2 = 3. Oh God. You know, I just don't know. And then there's this story today. Minister is receptive to cutting $15 billion in spending. Anand says, Hadju calls it an exercise in thoughtfulness. This is a Canadian story. There's a cabinet retreat going on, and they're focusing on housing. Oh, they're so responsible, aren't they? This is the liberal Trudeau regime, trying to show everybody that they're fiscally responsible. Check this out. Here we go. Treasury Board President Anita Anand says her federal cabinet colleagues have been very receptive to the plan for all ministers to find $15 billion in spending cuts across government departments, as one of her colleagues vows to protect service programs from getting the axe. Prime Minister Justin Trudeau and his cabinet are currently amid a 3-day retreat in Prince Edward Island, where they're plotting out federal priorities for the fall sitting of Parliament. This meeting kicked off with a presentation from Deputy Prime Minister and Finance Minister, our favorite, Chrystia Freeland, on the broader fiscal and economic context underlining their plans. And a central piece of that is Budget 2023 commitment to claw back more than $15 billion in planned spending over the next 5 years. Well, finally, they get to a little bit of austerity, a little bit of fiscal responsibility. It's maybe about time. But, it's going to take them 5 years to trim off $15 billion. But, they're so responsible, aren't they? Money's got to be a little bit tight after sending as much as they have to Ukraine to buy all them guns and bombs and bombs and guns. But they're pinching pennies over there. Yeah, Trudeau and Christia, they're miserly. They don't like spending no monies. Eh? They got to pinch them pennies because it's time to get fiscally responsible heading into that next election. I don't know how they're going to buy your vote this time around if they're talking about trimming the budget. Oh, you know what? I bet you it doesn't last long. Why do I have a feeling they're going to start forking out more cash? He'll be on the road soon. You'll see. They'll have more free goodies to hand out. Don't worry. More free crap coming. They're bankrupt, but that won't stop them from printing more money. They're pinching the pennies today so they can spend dollars tomorrow. Yeah, 15 billion over 5 years saved. Yeah, well, whatever. Believe it when I see it. And this is trending on Twitter, X. Something to take note of. Something to talk about. The end of the US dollar. People are starting to finally clue in that the US dollar isn't what it used to be. Might not be what it is today either, tomorrow. In fact, it might not even exist. Oh my goodness.
In the US or Canada, y'all need to wake up. You have no idea what's happening right now in the world. You guys are all so caught up with the wildfires that are happening in Canada, but that's not even the biggest news that's happening right now. Tomorrow is BRICS Summit Day 1. BRICS is a new digitalized currency that's going to change the way that economics and trades work, and it constitutes of 5 countries: Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa. These 5 countries are currently stating a new currency that's going to be backed by gold. And the conversion rate of this currency to US dollars is 1 to 55. Do you know what that means? For us, things are going to skyrocket in price. Inflation is going to become the worst it's ever been in centuries, as if it's not already bad enough now. You're trying to spend $20 there, equivalent to $1,100. That's basically an entire paycheck. And if you're in Canada, it's even worse. It means you guys need to take your money out of bank accounts because it is depreciating in value, and you need to start putting into investments such as crypto, properties, commodities such as gold, especially gold, because gold is actually backed by the BRICS currency. And you need to start putting it into investments and assets that will start making you money.
Yeah, I don't know about the crypto stuff, but gold for sure. Always a stable place to put your money. Always a hedge against inflation. That historically has always been true. It's a hedge against inflation. A safe storage of wealth, of your savings. She's right. The BRICS currency could devastate the US dollar. People don't understand. People don't, they're not taught in school economics anymore. They don't get it. They do not get it. Let me turn this off. The US dollar, the Canadian dollar, not backed by gold anymore. There's no gold backing up the dollar. You know what backs up the dollar? Combination of things, but it's really one thing. It's sort of your labor. It's you. You back up the dollar. It's the guarantee that you're going to be productive in the long haul, and the country then as a whole is going to be productive in order to back up the debt that the government incurs. And more than that, on a larger scale, on a macroeconomic scale, it's that, but it's also has been tied to the value of oil since the 70s, when Nixon took the U.S. off the gold standard. It's been tied to the value of oil through Saudi Arabia in exchange for forcing other countries to buy oil in US dollars, which props up the value of the US dollar. Anybody wanting to buy oil has had to buy it with US dollars. So in a world dependent on oil, the US dollar it became very strong in demand, right? A lot of demand for US dollars because everybody had to buy oil using US bucks. That props up the value. But in exchange for forcing countries to do that, the US provided military defense. So in reality, the US buck is backed by bombs. The US buck is backed by bombs. And the way to keep the economy expanding is to expand the empire. But now you got bricks. So the US buck, backed by bombs, is about to get bricked. So if you got bucks backed by bombs, you might want to take your bucks and your bonds and cash them in and go buy some bricks backed gold brick stuff, because there's going to be a lot more demand for gold now, because they're going to need that to back up the bricks. So go buy yourself some bricks of gold, and no matter what happens, you'll have a stable store of wealth for those hard-earned dollars that you've been saving, and they won't get eaten up by inflation. A lot of different ways to do it. I'm not a professional financial advisor, so take this for what that's worth. But I think she's right. I studied a little economics in my day, and I can see where it's going. Brace yourselves. There's a lot worse to come.
Hello, world. Are you awake? Uniting humankind by liberating millions of minds at a time. Maverick News. The world is watching.
The New World Order. Government overreach. The Great Reset. Mainstream media lies. Now more than ever, independent voices are needed. Donate now at freedomreporters.com. That's freedomreporters.com. Maverick News. The antivirus program for your mind.
Maverick News. The world is watching.
Okay, I'm back. And actually, I need to turn this phone on for a second because there's a message that I need to share with you guys in a video. I'll let that reboot. So maybe before we get to that, we'll deal with a couple of other little things. Maybe a big thing. I don't know if there's going to be a lockdown next month or more mask mandates. I don't know. I don't know. Oh, you know what? We're still on YouTube and Facebook, so maybe we'll save this. Maybe we'll save this. And maybe I do know if there's going to be. Maybe I don't know, but we'll save it. Okay. You know what I don't know? I don't know if there's going to be a nuclear war, but I'm damn worried about it. And that is actually the thing that had me petrified this morning, because they're telling U.S. citizens to get out of Belarus. That's what the U.S. government is telling people. Get out of Belarus while you can. Let me show you. Where we're at with that. Where'd my thing go? Here it is. Okay. Come back here, thing. U.S. tells citizens to leave Belarus. This is the Hill. It's not the only media outlet reporting this. There are many, not a lot. It's not really hitting like the top tier mainstream media. They're kind of downplaying all this. They don't really want to talk about it too much, but we should be looking at it. The United States is telling people, the State Department urging U.S. citizens to leave Belarus. The Biden administration is urging U.S. citizens in Belarus to depart the country immediately and warned against travel. There is a statement published earlier this week. The updated travel warning comes after bordering countries, Lithuania, Latvia, and Poland, have stepped up security along the border over concerns about Russian Wagner mercenary forces exiled in the country. The State Department, in its warning, encouraged Americans still in Belarus to depart the country immediately and categorized the country as a level 4 risk, the highest security warning. Belarus's longtime leader, Alexander Lukashenko, often described as Europe's last dictator. What side are these guys on? Has been a key facilitator of Russian President Vladimir Putin's war in Ukraine. It's Putin's war, they say. It's all his fault. It's Vladimir Putin's war. It's all his fault. That evil guy. Victoria Nuland didn't have anything to do with it. And Biden, he's innocent. He's just a nice guy. He wants peace. Yeah. Yeah. Is under a catalog of U.S. sanctions. Yeah, because Biden's a really nice guy. So they sanctioned everything and stole everybody's stuff. And, if you're Russian, they'll take all your stuff and freeze your bank accounts and crap for alleged human rights abuses and political repression against Belarusian people who challenged his claim to election victory in 2020. Do not travel to Belarus due to Belarusian authorities' continued facilitation of Russia's unprovoked attack on Ukraine, the buildup of Russian military forces in Belarus, the arbitrary enforcement of local laws, the potential of civil unrest, the risk of detention, and the embassy's limited ability to assist U.S. citizens residing in or traveling to Belarus, the State Department wrote in its warning. Yeah, you know what? I think getting a probably not a bad idea, because I think this is another indication of more escalation. You're seeing all these countries ratcheting everything up. We're talking about F-16s now going into Ukraine. They're going to give them F-16s. We're seeing the Russians describe those as being launch platforms for potentially for tactical nuclear weapons. That's how they see them. It's very clear that both sides are digging in. Neither side is prepared to back down. The Russians can't lose this. They won't allow themselves to lose no matter what. They are willing to go all the way. We know that is the case. Putin has pretty much made that very clear. But they don't want to be manipulated into using a nuclear weapon, but it's very clear, I think, that they will, if provoked to the point where they are facing a true existential threat, where their country, the existence of their country is threatened and appears to be on the verge of destruction. I think they will use a nuke. And there are some who think that a tactical nukes could be used, and we wouldn't see an escalation. But once you go down that road, man, there's no turning back. We've talked to Scott Ritter about that, and I think he's right on the money. You start using nukes, and the Russians are going to just launch everything. Now, the Russians might use it as some way to try to show they're going to use it as a deterrent, but I don't know how they're going to do that. How they would, I don't know. I just know that we're right on the edge. People can downplay it and say, "Oh, it's not going to happen." Well, we've never been closer. And this stuff here, like get the heck out of Belarus, they're telling you that is where the next hotspot is going to be. Get out because you're in danger. The forces are amassing there on both sides, and that's where the conflict is going to erupt again into the next level. And with all these additional attacks, I mean, the first time there was a drone strike in Moscow, it was a little bit freaky. Now it's becoming normalized, and we're seeing attacks, and the Russians having to defend their territory within Russia proper, if you want to describe it like that. This is not good. It's not good. You're poking the bear. But it's Putin's war. Yeah, well, you know what? Maybe if you stop droning Moscow, they won't have to shoot back. And then if you stopped doing that, maybe you could save some money. You wouldn't have to cut $15 billion from the Canadian budget, because we ain't got that much here anyway. We're really kind of a small country, not a very big population, even with all the immigration. Wouldn't it be better to take the money and build stuff instead of blowing stuff up? But no, they want to blow stuff up so they can build stuff back and make money both ways. Build the bombs, then rebuild the buildings. That's good for the environment. Blowing stuff up and then building stuff. But you can't have plastic bags. No plastic straws for you. We need to, it's just like, they used to have metal drives or whatever. You used to go around and they collect like steel and crap. Like they stopped building cars during World War II because they needed the steel so they could build bombs and ships and stuff. Well, they need the plastic now to build the bombs. So no straws and no bags because they need to build the bombs and stuff. The plastic crap that they need for the war, I guess. I don't know. And save the planet. And no straws, but it's okay. You're going to blow stuff up. They'll just build it back. And the depleted uranium shells, nothing to worry about. It's a little nuclear waste, like laying around all over the place where children play. And it's in the potatoes, the ground, and you eat it. It's not a big deal. It's okay. Just chill out. Stay calm and keep on bombing. What could go wrong? They've got a plan. Yeah, a plan, kind of a greedy plan, really, like amass as much power and land as we can to expand our empire. Keep the economy growing. Take over another country. Make them join NATO. Force them. Our devious plot is working. So here, let me show you what was sent to me. Ba-da-bum-bum-bum-bum-bum. Okay, so Kevin Michelizzi is over in Crimea. He sent me this stuff here, and I didn't have time to download this one. Maybe I can get it for it. Well, I'll just read it. So there was heavy attacks in Crimea today. Says here, Russian air defense suppressed 2 Ukrainian drones near Crimea by means of electronic warfare, as a result of which they fell into the water 40 kilometers, 24.8 miles northwest of the peninsula, the Russian Defense Ministry said on Tuesday. Says about 2300 hours Moscow time, an attempt by the Kiev regime to carry out a terrorist attack with aircraft-type unmanned aerial vehicles was thwarted. 2 Ukrainian unmanned aerial vehicles were detected and suppressed by electronic warfare by the air defense forces. The ministry added that drones, having lost control, crashed over the Black Sea, 40 kilometers northwest of the Crimean Peninsula. Russia's Su-30SM fighter jet of the Black Sea Fleet destroyed a reconnaissance boat of the Ukrainian armed forces, which was discovered near Russian gas production facilities in the Black Sea, the Russian Defense Ministry said as well today. I have video. I was able to download that, and it took me just a few minutes before the program to get it so that it would play properly, but I believe it will play for us now. Here's what happened, as you can see from this.
Повыше.
Предельный угол атаки.
Третье движение. 2. Повыше 2. 1900.
Yeah, we've seen other drone attacks on that bridge in Crimea a couple of times, and some attempted drone attacks as well. Well, they've got surveillance on all the time there. This war is not over, not by a long shot. More escalation. More escalation. That is for sure. Okay, let's go back to the wildfires here for a bit, because people talk about the cause, right? You know what part of the cause is? Bad. An ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. Governments here in the West have not taken the preventive measures necessary to deal with this issue. And they know it happens every single year. And they need to prepare. They should have been preparing on a number of fronts. Preparing for natural causes, preparing defenses against arsonists, just all the different causes that they know of that come to bear here every single year. And one of those potential threats is terrorism. They've known it, they've acknowledged it. Fire can be used as a weapon. Who's doing it? I don't know. I can't prove anything one way or another. And I'm not even saying that what's going on out there is terrorism. But I do know this. The governments in Canada and the US have been aware of the threat for a long time. They've been warned about it. They've done their own studies. They've had experts warning them about it. And you know what they've done about it? Really kind of nothing. So here is what I'm talking about. Here's an example of A report from the Combating Terrorism Center. This is way back in 2013. Let me bring this up on the screen for you. Fire as a weapon in terrorist attacks. The use of fire for criminal, gang, and terrorist activities, as well as targeting first responders, is not new. During the past 4 decades, the New York City Fire Department has faced hundreds of intentionally set fires that would often target people. On March 25th, 1990, however, the unthinkable happened. An arsonist with a plastic container of gasoline spread the fuel on the exit stairs of the Happy Land nightclub in the Bronx, intentionally killing 87 people, foreshadowing even larger events to come. And then they talk about September 11th. They talk about all these things, but here it says, understanding fire as a weapon. The devastating 2008 attacks in Mumbai, India, represented a game changer. Over 3 days, a city of nearly 14 million was held hostage, while 166 people were murdered in multiple locations across the city, introducing a new model for terrorist attacks. The nature of the Mumbai attack confused those providing tactical response, rescue operations, fire extinguishment, and mass casualty care. The attackers employed multiple means of attack, including improvised explosive devices, assassination, hostage barricade, building takeover, active shooter, kidnapping, and fire. Despite all of the violence, the most iconic images from that event remain the fire at Taj Mahal Hotel. So they're using fires in buildings. So there's that. And then there's this, wildfires. Mitigating the threat of terrorist-initiated arson attacks on wildland urban interface areas. This is the First Responders Toolbox. And this is on dni.gov. And it says here, mitigating the threat of terrorist-initiated arson attacks on wildland urban interface areas. Foreign terrorist organizations encourage arson attacks in the U.S. because of its perceived simplicity and potential to cause significant and widespread damage. Arson-initiated wildland fires in the U.S., especially in the West, result in major human, property, infrastructure, environmental, and economic losses. About 40% of all U.S. homes are in wildland urban interface communities, according to the U.S. Department of Commerce, putting these communities at greater risk of wildfires, although most WWIII arson incidents in the homeland resulted in criminal charges unassociated with terrorism. Messaging by terrorists may result in acts of arson connected to terrorism. In July 2020, ISIS released an English-language video titled Incite the Believers that urged supporters to conduct arson attacks in forests, fields, cities, and villages to safely dispose of evidence to hinder law enforcement investigations. On 20th of July 2019, authorities that's a typo, indicated an ISIS supporter in the U.S. who said he wanted to set fire to the Berkeley Hills mountain range in California, a recognized WWIII vulnerable to fires. In January 2017, ISIS English language Rumaya magazine provided instructions for making improvised incendiary devices and urged supporters to target wildlands and buildings. In May 2012, Al-Qaeda in the Arabian Peninsula's 9th issue of Inspire magazine offered instructions and suggested materials for building a timed incendiary device or firebomb, and recommended targeting urban areas adjacent to wildlands in order to destroy natural resources as well as structures and vehicles. Prevention considerations. The following practices, procedures, and precautions may help prevent terrorist-initiated WWIII fires or minimize the damage and casualties that fires may cause. coordination and information sharing, increase interagency response and investigation coordination among local, state, tribal, territorial, and federal agencies. Fire services should participate in the information sharing environment through the National Network of Fusion Centers Terrorism Liaison Officer, TLO, and Fusion Center Liaison Officer programs, and FBI Joint Terrorism Task Forces make use of the ATF bomb arson tracking system for investigative reporting. Investigative capabilities. Train additional fire investigators to National Wildlife Coordinating Group standards and teach responders how to recognize indicators of arson and how to preserve evidence at the scene. Threat analysis, community preparedness, suspicious activity reporting, technology. Deploy fire detection cameras and weather monitoring stations for real-time monitoring of WUI areas. The equipment allows monitoring of environments for ignitions and fire weather conditions. Talks about response considerations. It lays out historical cases, arson fires initiated in the WUI during the past decade, all laid out here. Lists various kinds of resources that could be brought to bear here. And what have the governments done about this? Really, they've done nothing. They cut the budgets out west here in Canada. The previous government in Alberta did. And I know some people are still not happy with what Danielle Smith, the new United Conservative Party leader who became premier, still not happy with the response from the current government. But, they kind of inherited, they're just new and they just inherited what the NDP government left them. Woefully inadequate in Canada and woefully inadequate in Hawaii. And they were warned. And here's another one. This is something that's been on the radar for a long time. And again, I don't know for sure I don't know what caused these fires. I can only look at the stats and we know what we're told. But is pyroterrorism a threat in the United States? This is from 2018. Most likely it is not. But if and when, most likely it is not if, but when it will occur. Well, is that going on right now? Investigations may determine that. And we have seen eco-terrorism. Yes, we have. In a variety of ways, in a variety of places, from a variety of people. And you think about it, Canada's Minister of Environment and Climate Change, Stephen Guilbeault, before becoming the Minister of Environment and Climate Change, was a climate activist himself. He climbed the CN Tower to unfurl a banner about global warming, got arrested for the stunt. And this article lays out the whole thing. And you're all aware of the Japanese, with their fire balloons that they sent over here, which weren't terribly effective at the time. But they did try to do that and use fire here. And again, I don't know. I just see the response. And maybe tomorrow we'll have somebody on the show talking about this and their own personal experience, because I do have a contact that I need to initiate with someone out there who has a story to tell, sort of in this vein. And they may shed some light on this for us tomorrow if I can arrange to get them on the program. I'll just kind of leave that there for the moment and see where it goes. And with that, you know what I'm going to do is we're going to pull off YouTube and Facebook and head on over to Rumble, and we'll continue on Twitter and Twitch and so on. But everybody's got to go to Rumble because that's the place. That's the place you got to be. I'll put the link in the comments section for everyone, because then we're going to go over there. We're going to go over there and talk about Rumble stuff, the kind of Rumble stuff that you don't get on YouTube and Facebook. So this is your reward for sticking around so long. There's the link to the Rumble channel. And I'll be selling shares in the new Burger Clone Corporation later in the program. Burger Clone. Have it your way. Have it your way at Burger Clone. I bet they'll be healthy. It'll be beyond meat, baby. It'll be beyond meat. Beyond beef. It'll be unbeyondable, unbelievably beyond. Burger Clone. A Rick Walker concept. Stick with me. We'll construct more here on the Maverick News Channel right after this.
Greetings, brave Mavericks. Our quest for truth continues. We go beyond fake news. Together we expose propaganda. Together we pull others out of rabbit holes. We are maverick thinkers. We are all unique individuals, defenders of individual rights and freedoms, credible, trusted, grounded in reality. Maverick News, Maverick News. Defending free speech, free speech. Donate at freedomreporters.com. Do it now. Tomorrow may be too late. Maverick News. The world is watching.
Okay, I'm back. Not only am I going to set up a Burger Clone empire, I think I'm going to overthrow the Burger King. I think I'm going to do it. It's got to be done. Somebody's got to do it. I know, Choosy. We got to exile the Knights of Malta too. We'll get to that. We're working on it. But we also have to overthrow the Burger King. I think it's got to be done, folks. I think it has to be done. Oh, you think I'm nuts? Oh, no, I'm not. Burger King is a threat, a global threat to the natural international law. They're trying to take over the whole darn planet. You think I'm joking? It's not like it's an unprecedented thing I'm talking about. They've actually tried to do it. Oh, maybe you don't recall. Maybe it didn't get enough attention. I know they try to keep this thing on the down low. But they've already tried to overthrow one country, Burger King. Yeah, I'm telling you, it's true. Look at this. 2017, not so long ago. Burger King. Two kings, one crown. There can be only one king. Belgium. Burger King. They got themselves in trouble with Belgium's monarchy over an advertising campaign asking Belgians to vote online to crown the global fast food giant the true ruler of the country, where the US brand will launch next month. So in 2017, they tried to establish another, I'm going to call it like a burger base. Yep. Expanding their empire out to Belgium. Okay. Their whole army of burger flippers armed with spatulas. Sent them all in there. They even turned their own citizens against them, against the monarchy. Okay? Because they actually recruited domestic help. Not mercenaries, a domestic army of burger flippers, all designed to overthrow King Philippe, King of Belgium. And he was not amused. And it makes perfect sense to me. Absolutely makes perfect sense. You know why? Because the Burger King, you know what he presides over? Not that he's a president, but he might as well be. He's the ultimate ruler. The Burger King, he's the king of a corporation. What's a corporation? It's just a construct. Just something somebody came up with. They convinced a bunch of people to invest a bunch of money. Buy shares in Burger King. Help us overthrow the King of Belgium. 2 kings, 1 crown. What is Belgium? It's a country. Is it real or is it a myth? It's just an illusion, man. It doesn't even exist. It's just a corporation, too. It's one corporation fighting another corporation. Who made that guy the king anyway? Well, see, Burger King, they're dangerous. We got to overthrow them. They're upsetting the balance of things, man. Just saying. Time to pop off YouTube. That's a joke, Facebook and YouTube. Don't ban me about talking about overthrowing the king of burgers. Maybe the way to do it is just to put them out of business with burger clone franchises all over the world. But wait a minute. Wouldn't I then be guilty of the same kinds of international transgressions as the Burger King himself? It's such a difficult thing. I don't know what to do. Okay, let's just pop off YouTube and Facebook. Okay, love you, YouTube. Kind of, sort of, not so much anymore. I don't like you as much as I used to. But anyway, that's a whole other story. So goodbye, YouTube. See you tomorrow. We're going over to Rumble. Join us over there. Go to Rumble. 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 Don't miss out. All the cool kids are going to Rumble now. Okay, goodbye, YouTube. There goes YouTube. There's one YouTube gone. Goodbye, YouTube. And here goes another YouTube. See you later, alligator. Bye. Oops, I didn't. I didn't do it right. I'm not going to play my own voice in my head if you don't think that makes you crazy. Okay. Goodbye, YouTube. See you later. Okay. Goodbye. Gonzo.